And welcome back to Hey Eintracht Frankfurt, the Bundesliga podcast covering everything there is to know about Eintracht Frankfurt in the English language. Eintracht Frankfurt, the best club in the Bundesliga, best club in Germany, best club in Europe, best club in the world for that matter. But we're a little bit biased. I'm your host, Brian Sanders. Follow me on Twitter at KCSGE. You can follow the show on Twitter. That is at HefPod. You can follow us on Facebook, where we upload recent episodes, in addition to recent news about Eintracht Frankfurt in the English language. Like us there. That is facebook.com/HefPod. A little bit more about that in just a little bit in this week's episode. And you can also email the show, heyeintrachtfrankfurt@yahoo.com. So I try never to do this show alone. We had the full team back again. It's Nathan in St. Louis. Hello, Nathan.
Hey, Brian. It's good to be back.
Indeed it is. And we have on the West Coast, Roman in San Francisco. Hello, Roman. Wie geht es Ihnen?
Deutschlands beste Mannschaft. Deutschlands beste Mannschaft. SGE. Yeah, so I hope it
Very
worked.
apt.
So for you guys who are, yes, I'm glad to be here. And my microphone situation is a little bit weird. It's the third time we're doing this opening now, but and now it is the built-in microphone. So we got to that point now.
You know, we're broadcasting pros, I think, at this point, or at least semi-pros. Come on, Nathan.
There you go.
We're at least at the semi-pro
Fake it
level
till you
at this
make
point.
it.
Yeah, I think
We're at least Regional Liga level broadcasters here. So with enough us fooling ourselves, let's put ourselves into the dizzy heights that is Eintracht Frankfurt in the Bundesliga as we return from our international break, as we put a whopping 7 goal smack right in the face of Friedhelm Funkel's. Love you, old buddy, but you're currently in charge of Düsseldorf. So Fortuna Düsseldorf, via goal difference, now dropped to the bottom of the Bundesliga after a 7-1 thrashing, because I think I would say that thrashing is the most apt word to describe it. Eintracht Frankfurt 7. Sadly, Düsseldorf 1. I say sadly because, again, and our little kind of texting that we had kind of was a little frustrated at the fact that, once again, unable to get another Bundesliga clean sheet. It's been a while since we pulled that off against Freiburg, but can we talk about anyone else other than Luka Jovic?
no.
I mean,
I think
no.
5 goals! No one's ever scored that many in Eintracht Frankfurt within the Bundesliga itself. It's just kind of like, woof.
And the funny thing is, he could have scored so many more as well, right? So I think that's also absolutely fascinating.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy.
Yeah,
Pedal to the metal. Everything just seemed to come up Jovic.
Exactly. I mean, for us, I guess there's always, we can kind of push it a little bit more. Currently, the record for Eintracht in terms of a kind of team effort, the current record stands as 9-1. Rot-Weiss Essen back in the 70s, long before any of us were fans of the Eintracht. Just to date all three of us, just a tiny bit. Huh?
9 goals. My God.
Yeah, I know.
Lord.
I know. I can't remember the last time I heard of a Bundesliga team actually scoring 9 goals for a very long time. Roman, maybe you can help me out here, but I think the last time we saw anyone score more than 7, because BVB actually scored 7 earlier this season.
I mean, the last big one like this, I remember was like Schalke. 9 goals. I don't remember anywhere, but yeah, I mean, that's like basically my biggest one was Schalke in the DFB Pokal at some point where we played 6-0 and where Schalke was then like always called like Schalke 06. Well, there's also a very famous video that you can see, which is in Gelsenkirchen, so in away game. where like people from the Schalke people were filming the fan block, the Frankfurt away block. And whenever the Schalke people said like Schalke, you know, the other one is supposed to say 04, but 06 was like way louder than the 04. So it's like this really funny thing where like the Schalke people go like Schalke and then 06, Schalke, 06. It's it's a really cool thing that you should check it out. Yeah, I think if you Google or YouTube Schalke 06 Frankfurt, you will probably find it.
There you go. But Luka Jovic kind of, let's be honest, that first goal, woof. I mean, crazy how he just contorted himself in air. Great, cross in by Kostic to kind of put it on a silver platter for him. He had a pair of assists. The dude playing on the wing, he's just been lighting the place up. And we'll talk a little bit about him also in the Eintracht Europa League match. But Kostic, he's just really functioning at an altogether different level that I had not seen definitely when he was playing for Hamburg, but then again, I mean, no one plays good for Hamburg these days. I mean, they so well that they fire their coach when they're in fourth place in the Zweite Liga at present. I mean, it just kind of shows you the kind of shenanigans that those guys get up to. But
soap opera.
Sebastian Haller, I mean, scoring from the penalty spot, scoring a goal from open play, a pair of assists as well. I mean, take him out of the starting lineup, and I believe that, honestly, 10 points would not be on the table for Eintracht Frankfurt this season. He has had that much of an impact, and Jovic would not be in the position that he's currently in without Sebastian Haller, based on this game and just in general.
Yeah, I mean, all these goals as well, they were all really nice. They were not like, when they sometimes have these friendlies against like a fourth league team or something, and then they score like 7-1 or 9-1 or 13-0, like those were all really nice goals, right? With the great work, with great, also intelligence. Of course, also Düsseldorf played really bad, that too, but they were all nice to watch, I mean, like three of those goals could easily be a goal of the month, and
I'm pretty sure that
the first one definitely
goal is going to be goal of the month.
That's going to be in the goal of the year maybe, but
it's going to be in that talk.
But I mean, all of them were nice. They were all really cool goals. They were played really well. Obviously, kind of defended horribly, but really something for the eye.
So here's a little something that I found interesting in regards to us playing this exciting stuff. Kasinovic didn't play bad. Guzman is lighting the world on fire. Kostic is doing great. But we saw a couple of players on the pitch that we didn't expect to see as we thrashed Düsseldorf. Ergotta finally getting his opportunity. Not that he really did anything, but Stindera at least showed glimpses of what he is still able to bring to the table, which kind of makes me think, we're currently in 7th place right now, as the season goes on and we kind of push for it, don't think about moving Stindera maybe until, next summer. Kind of, look, we're in as we'll talk about in Europe, we're in such a great spot that, we're going to be playing additional matches and, hey, just kind of involve everything that you can. But is it just me, or is the team functioning at a completely different level that we were not anticipating when we were getting our butts handed to us by Bayern Munich in the Super Cup, the Super Pokal.
I mean, like in general, I think what we can say is that there's something new about the Adi Hütter Fußball, and this is something that we critiqued, or we said like before last season, where I think we said it that we never see these 3-0 wins or these 2-0 wins. It's always like we try to be defensively very, very good and accurate under Kovac, and then maybe do 1 or 2 hits. But the minute we had that, we kind of like started defending again and not even thinking about attack anymore. And now what's kind of new is that even though we are already 2-0 ahead, we still want to go for the third goal, right? Like even, I don't want to be talking too much the Limassol match from today, but the same thing, it's like they always want to go for the next goal, which is something new for me to see, right? Because we haven't seen any of this kind of behavior in the past, I would almost say like 5, 6, 7 years, it was like one goal, maybe two, and then better keep it, try to maintain it. And that's gone. And that's, I'm super excited to see them play that way and how hungry the team is, right? I mean, it was 7-0. I don't know when was the last goal shot. I don't know, in the 70 or something minutes. So you could easily see
72nd
minute. So you could easily see that there could have been like 8, 9, 10. Like I almost put my app out and bet on a 10 goal win. But it was amazing, the pressure that they put, that they kept on playing, that they never kept up. And then when Adi Hütter was starting to put, Chagota in the match, where he's like, yeah, exactly, put in another attacker. Like, if it's funny to see that, where he says like, okay, we still have one of the attack line on the bench. Let's put him on the pitch. It's cool to see that. And even Stendera, I think, was brilliant. And that's where we need to go to get, right? That we have a few of these games that we win high, like the 4-1 to Hanover or 4-1 to Rome, where we can put second-class players or even some young guns onto the pitch, right? And I think I told you guys in our group, it would have been so cool if Adi Hütter had like Knote or somebody on the bench, or Bayreuther, some of the really, Bayreuther, I think he's on loan, but some of the really young guns, and then give him the chance the last 10, 15 minutes to play on these matches, right? Where you can't really do anything wrong anymore. And I like to see that with Stendera, especially because I have him in my fantasy team. So obviously his value got up.
Indeed. So that all being said, Eintracht currently sitting in 7th in the Bundesliga. Totally taking that right now, especially with the kind of teams that we have coming up. We'll hit at that just a little bit. We've gone over everything that is about our match with Düsseldorf without trying to get too obsessive about it. I mean, we could, go all fangirl on it, but let's move on to something just as important. Eintracht Frankfurt 2, Apollon Limassol 0. Both goals, first half. Kostic again. Granted, okay, his goal kind of was an absolute gift.
But I would say that
he just played out of his skin, and so did another attacker, Aller. Oh, wait, yes. Both of those guys again.
I would say that goal was a gift only because of the work that was put in to get it to him in the first place. Like, he had no business having the ball to begin with. So, I mean, it was that work that Rebic and then Aller put in to get him the ball to score that goal. Woof, that was awesome.
Indeed. I did like kind of bringing Fernandez kind of back into the fold. He looked to have a good, strong effect as we played with a more expansive kind of midfield action. De Guzman was allowed to kind of have his freedom. Gacinovic, chicken with his head cut off. Though, let's be honest, at least in the second half he looked better. Indica... his cross to Aller, and Aller just kind of puts it in. I can't believe we got this kid in the second division of France, and it just screams so much to Freddie Bobic in terms of his talent scouting, and like the scouts that he's got in there and bringing those guys in on the really cheap. That we're going to benefit from this very long term down the road.
Well, that's a different topic. How long are we going to keep those guys? But at least as long as we keep them, we're going to have great players. And when they leave, we're going to have a whole lot of cash. So, That's the good news. But yeah, it's amazing. Like the scouting work that Frankfurt has been put on the floor. I mean, that, not talking about the Limassol, but in general, what those guys with Bobic, Ben Manga, really put out every season is amazing. You know, like Ndika. Like where did he find like Ndika, Aller? Yeah, where does he get these guys? It's amazing. Yeah, but the Limassol match. You guys know I didn't actually see the goals. I didn't see both goals. Of course, later on in a recap. But because first of all, I wanted to watch it in a pub, and they don't show the fucking on TV, you know. So like, I went into the pub. I was like, hey, where do you show it? And I was like, oh, they don't have it. So then I looked at my live sports app, and I showed like a Bleacher Report, whatever that is, and of course it's only streaming. Then I was like telling the guys, okay, guys, so we can't go to the bar. Let's go somewhere else. Let's go to my office. And then the other guy had to go off. And so then I was like, okay, let's go to my office. So I work out of the Mexican consulate right now, which is super cool. Just got the thing. So by the time I was at the office, it was already 1-0. And then I started working on it. And then they had this free kind of teaser thing. And I already signed up, but I haven't paid yet because I got the link and it worked. To make long things short, at some point the link interrupted. Hey, now you have to pay. And by the time I put in all my payment details and paid the $2.99 to watch the game, it was already 2-0. I was like, okay, great. So there. But of course.
I mean, I guess you could have restarted it from the beginning.
You cannot do that. And like you're watching it on the computer. Your phone bings with every goal, and even though there was no other goal, but no. So I had to watch it live, and then you already know that it's 2-0. So yeah, I watched it in the recap then.
Wait a second, the Mexican consulate, was there no way that they had their own kind of like feed from Mexico? I mean, Mexico had its what was it? ESPN Play Norte, which was broadcasting throughout Mexico and the Central American countries.
Yeah, but the people in the Mexican consulate, they work and they don't watch TV. So I only have...
You could have just said Marco Fabian's on and trick him into putting it on at that
Unfortunately,
point.
he wasn't on, you know, so that's still the thing. Yeah, but at least here's the thing, right? So when I wear my Frankfurt jersey and I go out of the Mexican consulate, or when I'm around, I think people recognize my eagle. And the guard at the door, he was like, what team is this? You know, like, my Spanish is horrible. So the conversation was really short, but it just mentioned Carlos Salcedo and Fabian, and he was nodding. And he was asking me, ¿Cómo se llama? Like, is it pronounced? You know, Eintracht Frankfurt. And then he was like happy. And yeah, so.
That's cool.
Well, then you have to just invite him to watch the next match. Well, I might add with the change in time zones. Hey, at least it's not going to be... Well, okay, it still is early for you, Roman. I will call 5:30 in the morning on the West Coast. It's going to be early. And hey, you're lucky because the clocks move forward in Central Europe, at least for this weekend. So Sunday's matches going to be a little bit earlier than it would have been. That would have been...
until we follow suit.
7:30 on the East Coast. I'm basing this all on United States time zones, so I mean.
But we're diverting away from the Limassol match, so I'm sorry for that. It was my own fault.
Yeah, no worries, bud. Ronald putting in some good minutes between the sticks for the Eintracht.
Yeah, I like that too.
Marco Rose also having a lovely goal line clearance.
Yeah.
You know, when that kind of went down, it did kind of give me a moment of pause because I thought, honestly, Eintracht was able to nail down the lead that you would not have expected to kind of be in danger so early against a team that, we're not kidding ourselves here, boys. When we saw the group, we all kind of overlooked these guys, despite the fact that, you know, super good teams have been known to take advantage of, you know, other teams not giving them enough respect, basically. But Eintracht for the most part was able to kind of ride things out. I think that, Adi Hutte, having during his time with the Young Boys of Bern, he was constantly playing in the group phase of the Europa League, and just based on the resources that he had, not able to get into the knockout phase, but at least being wary of having to manage his resources that he has there. And we find ourselves 3 matches in, 9 points up, 3 points up on Lazio, who won in their match against Marseille. So that kind of tees up a pretty tasty affair for second place, because, hey, we're in the driver's seat by a long shot for first place. And,
it's just going to be good.
For all the... Oh, it's going to be so good. And for anyone who wants to get out to Cyprus, just remember that one airline is down, and some other Eintracht Frankfurt fans flying out of Germany going to have to make alternative arrangements. So if you know an Eintracht Frankfurt fan who needs help in getting to Cyprus, let them know that you can help. Let them know any option that you might have available. If you are a former military and are able to get a free spot on what's one of those big troop carriers? I about said a Chinook and then realized, wait a second, that's a helicopter. But hey, if you're able to, if you're a prior service United States veteran and you happen to know that there's an American troop carrier that's going out there to Cyprus, why not? Middle of the Mediterranean sounds exotic to me. Bring an Eintracht Frankfurt fan along and just say, yeah, he's with me, and voila, just a couple more Eintracht Frankfurt fans who are going to be there. It won't be the reverse fixture will not be in Limassol. It's actually going to be at the National Team Stadium in Nicosia, which Eintracht has played in once before. The last time we were in the Europa League. So, all of that being considered, boys, a great 2 matches that we have won in about 6 days' time. And so we're gonna break this show up. This is the end of
we didn't even talk about the choreography. We did in our pre-talk, but I think
we can talk about.
We have to at least mention it. This amazing atmosphere. Like even the TV guys, like they were like at the end, especially in the last minutes, they were basically not showing the game anymore. They were just showing the cheering fans, which I thought, and they tried to find every perspective. Where you had if they had to show the game for whatever reason, they tried to look these nice perspectives where they had the players and in the background, the cheering fans, and even with Attila in the foreground, in the middle, the players, and in the background, the waving flags. So there were some amazing pictures by that super cool atmosphere that was once again masterclass from the Frankfurt supporters. What can we say?
Yeah, so we had originally from the Ultras end, really brief before we get into what are we drinking, we had the old Eintracht logo that was prominent in, the late 70s and into the 80s and early 90s, I think even as well, before being replaced by our present version of the crest. And then they flipped that around to show off what... more of a classic Hessian red eagle kind of crest with a white scarf wrapped around its neck. Because, hey, it's getting a little chilly here, there, and everywhere these days, as we'll get into what are we drinking. And so just goes to show that our ultras are the best in the world. And when it does come to us getting to finally go to an away match, whether that be Cyprus or playing in Rome, we will show that we have the best fans of any of the teams presently playing in the Europa League in the group phase. End of done and done. So, that all being said, breaking up into segment 1. Hashtag what are we drinking? Nathan, you, the beer man himself, the home brewer himself, what are you drinking? Roman, what are you drinking?
Well, I'm drinking. I didn't hear you, Nathan, but
I was on mute.
Oh, you were mute. Very good. Do you want to start? Go ahead, Nathan. What are you drinking?
I'm drinking this. I can't. Let me look at it. I've already drank it, so I gotta go grab the can. So go ahead.
The longest episode of What Are We Drinking? So because I'm totally boring, because I'm actually again drinking water. Unbelievable. I know it is, but I'm doing this intermittent fasting right now for some fun time, and I can't put any calories into my body in the evenings. So so for me it's just water, but it's water out of our Eintracht Frankfurt cups, out of the glasses, so to say. And at least I'm doing that with style. And of course, I am tweeting my picture, even though it's just water, but it is at least in the proper glass.
There you go. Nathan, have you got the can?
Yeah, I do. Take a picture of it. It's Dogfish Head's Sequential, the sour beer that I love so much. I love sours.
And the sour beers. Well, we've had this discussion, which has lasted longer than some other people would even dare to dream of. I mean, whoa.
Well, sours are in right now, and I will take advantage of it.
Yeah. Next time you're in KC, I'm definitely gonna. If it's Sunday night, I'm definitely taking you over to Beer Station, because those guys have got sours on special and on tap, and you got like a multitude to choose from.
Oh yeah, love it.
Yeah.
What do you got?
It is cold out here in Kansas City. Okay, maybe that's down to the fact that I spent 4 hours in the rain in Kansas City. We've had a little bit of precipitation happen in here. Refereeing at the very tail end of the season for the high school season through the state of Missouri. Kansas is already into their playoffs, but one final game to get underway. And I got absolutely drenched. Soaked to the bone. I think my bones were even cold. It was just one of those cold and rainy nights. Not something everyone wants to enjoy. And what did I feel that I really needed? I needed something to warm my bones, warm everything about my heart, despite the fact that Eintracht Frankfurt just kicked ass and took names earlier in the day. It was that kind of a night. So what did I find on my beer shelf? But none other than the Boulevard Company's Winter Warmer, the Nutcracker Ale. So should anyone have the opportunity... Yeah. Nathan knows Nathan, you know exactly what I'm talking about. The Nutcracker Ale is, to me, the single best beer that Boulevard does produce at this very juncture in their brewing history. It is one of the beers that is a constant performer, one that, to me, is worth its weight in gold. And this lovely beer, which normally comes in 6, but they also come in 12, classic winter ale, deep color, and it's got, gosh, my taste buds are just tingling at the fact that every single time I take a sip. That's what I am drinking.
It's got a 8% or something like that.
Pretty close to that, yeah. 7.8 is, I think, what I saw on the bottle. They have come out with other, definitely warm at this point. But hey, my fluffy Eintracht Frankfurt socks have also helped out the cause as well. Eintracht hoodie as well. I'm just hip deep in that, and the winter beer has pulled me through. So the Nutcracker Ale, the Winter Warmer Ale from Boulevard Brewing Company in Kansas City, Missouri is what I am drinking. So I did kind of hint that we would have a little bit of a giveaway. So Roman had recently posted that we have some little goodies that have been given to us from Eintracht Frankfurt US. Part of Eintracht Frankfurt's goal of growing themselves in the United States. They have Eintracht Frankfurt _US on Twitter and Eintracht Frankfurt US on Facebook. And follow both of those guys, and you'll actually find that they do quite a few little competitions of their own. And guess what? We're doing one of our own. Roman, what shirt is being on offer from us here at Hey Eintracht Frankfurt?
So that's cool. So as you said, I got a big package from Eintracht Frankfurt, and we're giving away. So in total, we have 4 jerseys, a scarf, and a couple of mugs that I've already talked about. And we will be giving them away during the time. So not all of them at once, but we're going to start with an original De Guzman shirt. Jersey, right? Super nice. Dry fit, Nike, obviously, and in size M. Yeah, so it's a white one, De Guzman. I'm going to post some photos. I'm going to make photos. But because this is the first one and we want this to be big, we are also adding the scarf. Woohoo! So there is an original Eintracht Frankfurt.
Yeah. Going big. Start from the word
scarf,
go.
Schal, black and white, and a jersey. So we will be giving away the jersey and the scarf to the winner. And how to win, Brian? How to get it?
Kind of key.
How to get it? How do people can get this?
So, exactly. So, Hey Eintracht Frankfurt's Facebook group is what you need to do. Like the Facebook group and like our post. It's going to be going up pretty immediately once you are hearing this podcast. You'll actually be able to find that pinned to the very top of our Facebook page. Yeah. Like the page if you have not already done so. Then like the post itself and share it. We're able to track on who does the sharing. So like the page, then like the post, and share it out yourself. And at the time, we'll actually do a live drawing on our next podcast when we are hopefully talking about victory over Nürnberg, previewing then our match against VfB Stuttgart. We will then bring out who is the lucky winner of scarf and shirt combo. So if you're looking to get yourself set up for the Florida Cup matches that are going to be happening in mid-January in St. Petersburg, Florida and Orlando, Florida, why not get yourself set up with a
jersey
lovely De Guzman shirt and scarf? Can't go any better than that.
Disclaimer only, I have to put this one in. It's like we do North America
Yes.
only, so that is the only restriction. Sorry, guys. So this is North America, Canada, US, Mexico only. And the simple reason is obviously also with shipping, because I gotta ship these things. And as much as we know we have listeners in Australia and we love you guys down under. However,
we love you in Germany. We have listeners in Germany. We have Scotland, Ireland, Italy, wherever you may be. This one is specifically for our North American listening audience, but fear not, we will have ones that will be open to everyone global, around the globe.
But for this one, it's US or North America only. And so all you have to do is share, like, it may be yours.
Maybe yours indeed. So cool indeed. So all that being said, that wraps up this What Are We Drinking? And a little bit of housekeeping news and notes right here. So we'll be back with segment 2, where we then preview our match with what is it? Erste FC Nürnberg. If I can only get those guys correct. Der Club, as we face in match day 9. And we'll kind of briefly go over what's going on in the rest of the Bundesliga. So stay with us. And we're back, segment 2 of Hey Eintracht Frankfurt. So, like I botched totally, because I really don't know everything about Erste FC Nürnberg that Eintracht Frankfurt takes on. Okay, I know a few things about Nürnberg. We beat them in the relegation playoffs that saved our bacon. Do we really need to know much more than that? Okay, so they do play in one of the more historic Bundesliga stadiums, the Nürnberg Arena. No, not it's the Max Morlock Stadion is its technical name. It was one of the stadiums that was used in the 2006 World Cup. So, been around with the club for a very long time. It's also got some other interesting history around it and its surrounding.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely not going into... kind of don't want to go down that rabbit hole, as they say, but Der Club is one of the most historic teams in the Bundesliga, 118 years old, came up just this past season as the runners-up in the Zweite Liga. After a couple of seasons down there, Timothy Chandler came into his own in the Bundesliga with the club, and that's where he started establishing himself as a constant fixture in the United States national team. Well, a lot of changes going on over there, but we're definitely not going down that either. Local rivals are Greuther Fürth, who are currently in the running to get promoted back to the Bundesliga. Games against Bayern Munich is gonna be pretty big in that neck of the woods, though. I mean, Bayern Munich's fortunes have definitely favored them in recent years. So, anything else we need to know about these guys? Oh, yeah. So, they're only one of the most historic teams of all time. 9-time German champion. Yes, 9 times. Granted, 67, 68, last time that they were the first division champion. So, during the time that the Bundesliga was the Bundesliga. And 4 Pokals in addition to making the I guess that's it. They've a couple forays into the European ranks.
The most important part,
but it's been a very long time coming.
The most important part about Nürnberg is that it's not too far away from Frankfurt, so I think it's only like a 1.5, 2 hour drive by car, right? So
nice.
It's super close. And I've been there a couple of times, though my memories, I have bad memories. So whenever I went to those games, we kind of lost all the time. So even like 4-0, I think the last time I went there was like horrible. Like I went there with a fan club. There was a nice party on the way to it. And then we lost 4-0. And then the way back was pretty depressing. But that's just the way it was. But anyways, it will be different because also we had our important game, a relegation match against Nürnberg, right? That was the last time we played them.
Yeah.
So we have...
Yeah, we haven't been back there since Haris Seferovic scored the... God, I can't believe it was him, of all the putzes of the world, who scored the game-winning goal to put us up 2-1 on aggregate, and we saw it through. Most of Stuttgart, most of the team at Schalke is made up of Nürnberg players who were deemed too good to be plying their trades in the Zweite Liga. There's actually an American who, technically he's on the books at Bayern Munich, but is currently on loan, Timothy Tillman. Doubt we're ever going to see him on the pitch because, he's, I think, 18, 19, somewhere there. Anyways, sorry, a little bit biased kind of look at that. So, kind of some interesting stuff that those guys have been up to. So far in their season, they unlike Fortuna Düsseldorf, well, okay, yeah, they got waxed by Borussia Dortmund, but not gonna lie, if anyone's paid any attention to Borussia Dortmund, those guys have been kicking everyone's ass. We were kind of we kind of didn't miss out on that, at least in the way that we did, let's be honest. But Nuremberg, when it does come to them playing on the road, they've absolutely been horrible. Though playing at home, they basically have won all but one of their points, and they're kind of not too far away from the relegation zone, but in my eyes, still a team that probably could be that they're destined for a bottom 4 finish in my eyes, but I think that they are capable of actually surviving, and then we'll see where they are able to go from there. Boys, not the tougher cookie of the two promoted sides to go up against, and the tougher venue of the two, but Eintracht Frankfurt can totally put these guys out to pasture and shoot them.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
God, I sound horrible when I say that. I have these horrible analogies, but the fact of the matter is, it's like a lame horse. What are you gonna do? You gonna allow it to just suffer? Or are you gonna put it out of its misery?
Yeah, that's what it is. It will be a very.
If anyone thinks that I am not an animal lover, they have not seen my Instagram feed, which is covered of pictures of me and my dog.
I know.
So if anyone thinks that I'm absolutely nuts, let that be known and
Well,
heard.
let's put it this way: it will be a very interesting game because, obviously, the defense of Nuremberg is not as strong as we usually see it. Like when we look at the past, like Dortmund was 7-1. Right when 7-0 won against
7-0, and then they lost to Leipzig on the road as well, 6-0.
I mean, they play pretty,
but they also beat Düsseldorf themselves 3-0 and beat Hanover 2-0. Each of those results at home.
I mean, it can be an open match. It depends on if the style of play, if it's going to work out. So there are two outcomes, right? Either it's going to be a horrible game. Or it's going to be something like this, a 4-0, 5-0, 6-0, because it's kind of matches. I think they have Nuremberg, they still try to play the game, they're not trying to be as defensive as they probably should be in their position, because they're still trying, at least from what I've seen, what I feel is they're still trying to play the game, at least at home. And that's of course opens up the gate wide, and that's what Dortmund and Leipzig really used. And we have to see whether we use that as well, because if the Jovic guys, the Fab Four, the Haller, Rebic, Jovic, and put in Da Costa as well, if they keep on scoring that well, then it's going to be really bad for Nuremberg. So I wonder what the coach is going to come up against, what kind of type of play, because I mean, seriously, guys, if you are preparing for this match, right? So imagine you are the Nuremberg coach. You just got
kind of tricky for an away game.
Whipped 7-0, 6-0 by Leipzig before you got whipped by Dortmund of 7-0, right? Or 7-1, I don't know. Yeah, 7-0 and 6-0. And now you're watching these games of Frankfurt beating basically Rome 4-1, Hanover 4-1, now Düsseldorf 7-1. And even if you watch the game today, the Limassol one, with, 2 goals only, so to say, but they had way more chances. That was a 4 or 5-0 game as well. How do you prepare your team? How do you not scare them to death, that these Frankfurt guys are now going to come in, they're kind of like just going to roll over.
Give them drugs beforehand?
Something like this. It will be, I don't know I would not know how to prepare my team for that.
Smoke them until they're stoned out of their mind.
That's something like, I don't know. Definitely an antidepressant. That's what they're hopefully going to need after the game. But it will be fun to see their reaction, So I think it will be. I'm totally curious to see how they're going to start.
Yeah,
Nathan.
I'm curious to see how they'll form up. Because it seemed like they're at the beginning of the season they were trying to go like you said, like an attacking form, and since for the last 5 or 6 games they've gone highly defensive in a way. Well, somewhat. It depends on the game. Like Dortmund, they tried to just batten down the hatches, but that didn't work.
They got flayed.
So that I don't know if that defensive style is working for them. It's clearly not. And the first 3 games of the season they actually played somewhat okay. So
I wouldn't say that losing 1-0 to Hertha is really a bad thing. They followed that up with consecutive draws of 1-1 with Mainz and Werder Bremen, who, presently at 3rd in the table, and they did that in Bremen. Exactly. And then was able to rattle off 2 consecutive wins on home turf against, granted, other teams that are in the relegation rut. But they say that, to survive relegation, how do you survive relegation? Beat the teams who are going to be in the same spot as you are.
That's true.
And they have done, though.
To Roman's point, it comes down to, from my perspective, I guess it comes down to how fast we come out. And I feel like that's been our strength with this team recently, is we come out fierce. But the thing that I'll say that I felt like Limassol played a little physical, and there's going to be a lot of. I imagine that someone like DaCosta specifically is not going to play in this match. So we'll have to see who else is down and out, and how tired we are in comparison to them. Who they've had 8 days of rest, so
definitely a difference.
We'll just have to see.
There's plenty of time in between the Düsseldorf and Europa League. I mean, there were 6 days in between them. I mean, that's almost like as though, you play Saturday, you play on Sunday, and then you play on Saturday. That is, I mean, not anything too crazy different in terms of like time span. So this sets us up brilliantly, and I think that we will be able to go from strength to strength. But that all being said, before we get to our predictions, a little thing that has kind of popped onto the Bundesliga scene. The Bundesliga, we'll kind of go with who is in what position. So 8 matches in, Borussia Dortmund on 20 points, and then there's a 3-point gap with Gladbach and Bremen on 17. 16 is Munich. 15 is a 2-way tie between Leipzig and Hertha, with us at 7th on 13 points, and then a 3-point drop before you get to 8th, which is where Hoffenheim is. That being what the table is at present. Remember, everybody, it's a tight league. It's an 18-team league. And that is what a proposal from Union Berlin, one of the biggest teams from the former East German Republic, has put out, that the first and second divisions should be increased, as the third division is currently at 20 teams, to 20 teams each. Now, Roman, I got a little bit of an idea that you have a very strong opinion on this. Look, to kind of put out some points here, I do think that there are a lot of teams in the second division who would probably add quite a lot of character to the Bundesliga. Oh, I don't know, the likes of Hamburg and Cologne being up here. I mean, would definitely make the you'd have the Nord Derby back between Bremen and Hamburg. You would have Cologne being able to play up against Gladbach and Düsseldorf as well. I mean, maybe someone else would have supplanted someone else in the second division, or the second and first divisions, or the last couple of years. So you never know who that could have been at whichever time. Kind of teams that we've seen in the relegation playoff. And then, of course, there's some big teams that are in the third division of Germany that probably could punch at a reasonable level in the second division, if not the first division. And yes, I'm talking about your Rostocks, your Braunschweigs, your Karlsruhes, your Kaiserslautens, your 1860 Munichs. I mean, there's a number of clubs that are in the third division who could be punching their weight in the second and the first tiers of the German football pyramid. So, Roman, I'll let you kind of weigh into this before we get into our prediction segment, as I find this really a fascinating topic.
Yeah, absolutely. But I have to admit, I don't really know. I'm not very strong on any of the positions, right? I do see the pros and cons.
More TV money.
Yeah, well,
more match day revenue from just the stadium revenue itself.
Yeah, but that doesn't count to win me over. That's not because more money, as Heribert Bruchhagen used to say, die Flut hebt alle Boote, which means the flood raises all the boats, all the ships, and so more money. It doesn't. It's just more money to players, right? So there's no difference, it's just but here's the interesting part, right? So what do we want to achieve, right? So let's put it this way. If we have a 20 league, then we will have less of the bigger clubs being relegated, right? Because Hamburg, Stuttgart.
Already, I would say that we're kind of in that kind of vein of form that, the likes of the little guys, the Ingolstadts, your Darmstadts, scum, Look, hey, they each had a 2-year stay, but everyone knew it's like, okay, you survived this year, but try and survive again. Guess what?
But Mainz is never going to relegate again if we have the 2020 league, right? So what the
same thing with us.
What the 20 league I think will foster is you're going to have the core Bundesliga team, the top 16, and nothing will ever happen to them. And then there will be the other ones and they will exchange, So I think predictions are always tough to that sense, but it might, right now we have a 3-class Bundesliga, right? There's Bayern on top, then there's nothing. Then there's Dortmund, and maybe from time to time, Leipzig or whatever, whatever. And then you have the 3rd class, so to say, or the 2nd class. We call it 3rd class, which is like, the Borussia Dortmunds, even though, the Gladbachs, maybe Stuttgart at some point, what Frankfurt is doing right now, the Schalkes, the Leverkusen, the Hoffenheim, the ones that are usually contender for Europa, and maybe if they're lucky, they get into Champions League, and if they're not lucky, then they might miss Europa. And the rest is kind of, scraping around. And I think we're going to have, it's going to be tougher with the 20 league. However, I like more games, honestly, obviously. I wouldn't mind 4 more matches in the season. So I'm neutral on this, actually, I think there are pros and cons. Yeah, that's all
Nathan, what do you think?
I kind of have to have that outsider perspective that I don't really know how it would affect things, although I kind of have a different opinion of adding teams and the volatility that would come from that. I feel like it would add more volatility perhaps to the system as it is, because just adding numbers will add that exponential increase in what could happen. So just from a pure hard statistics perspective. But outside of that, I've always been shocked at how small the Bundesliga is.
Exactly. Of the top 5 leagues, each of Spain, France, Germany, England, Italy, the leagues that wield by a long shot the most power when it does come to, the global footballing landscape. Germany is the only one that is not 20 teams, and guess what? They're the most populated, they're the most financially strong economically of all these countries that we're referencing, and yet it's the one with 18. It's got 18 teams, which I still have never kind of been able to wrap my head around. It's not like as though it's Denmark, or Scotland, where they only have 12, 14 teams. Involved in that. Granted, I'm kind of throwing out countries that are like 1/20th the size, population-wise, of Germany. I just think that that what is out there at present, I think that long term, the Bundesliga will probably be in a better spot. That yes, okay, so the big fish are always in there, but aren't the big fish always there in general?
Yeah, but the thing is, these things like Hamburg or Cologne or like Wolfsburg, we were never going to get rid of Wolfsburg in the 20 Bundesliga, right? Because they're always going to, even if they have the worst league like last time, they barely made it into relegation. And if they had 2 more, no way that they would be there. So if we want to have the possibility to get rid of these teams, and this is almost an evil thought, right, that I'm putting in, and I'm usually a positive person, so I shouldn't even be having these thoughts. But in soccer, it's you guys are absolutely right in terms of logic, in terms of everything there is. It absolutely makes sense to increase the league. But I just feel like, we will never get rid of the likes of the Wolfsburgs,
Well, the idea behind it is that it's trying to save the league from outside, money, right? That's the whole thing.
I personally believe that, this could at least keep 50+1 going for, I don't know, another 5 to 10 years before I just, the more and more think about it, the more and more I think everything's days are numbered. And look, we want to talk about the old glory days. Well, okay, so back in the day, a lot of the matches got postponed because, the pitches were absolute crap, even at the Bundesliga level, like 20, 30 years ago, when they integrated all the East German teams, the Bundesliga was, a lot bigger. For me, I think that it's a simple, natural progression that I would think it should not rattle the cage all too much. I will say this, for all their kind of angst against the likes of midweek games and Monday night fixtures, Monday night would be a permanent fixture. No, just to get all the games in over the weekend. You might permanently have 3 games on a Sunday, or be infrequent. 3 games on a Sunday, 1 game on Monday, 1 game on Friday, and then you have your Saturday games. So obviously, would be taking up a lot. We would would start the season earlier. To end the season about the same time, shorten the winter pause, which I think is kind of important. And I think that I think for the fan, I think it's, for the health of and safety of the Bundesliga on the European landscape, is better to have 20 teams. If I put myself in the shoes of what makes the Bundesliga great, it's the atmosphere, and I think that means more midweek games, more Monday night games, and those kind of contributing factors means that there's less of a traveling contingent because, someone who has to go from Stuttgart to Bremen, for example, a Monday night fixture, that is absolutely asinine, and someone's going to have to miss multiple days of work to be able to pull that off, and we're just going to get more and more of that.
But they're watching out. There is a little decline in the Bundesliga, right? The attendance is, like Mainz is having trouble, getting their stadium full, and Hoffenheim, and Leipzig.
They've always had it.
They always had, there were some times where they were packed, but, it's the question.
When was Mainz ever packed? When they had a stadium that only seated 20,000 people?
Yeah, but at least they got that packed. But here's the thing, right? So I would totally sell...
Yeah, but that's 20,000 as opposed to 34,000, though. Roman, come on.
But you would totally sell me on that.
Mainz is crap. They're always going to be crap.
I know they're going to be crap. They are crap. You would totally sell me on it if we would have had more clubs like Kaiserslautern, like 1860, up in the Bundesliga. But if we have another Holstein Kiel, if we have another Heidenheim, this does not make the Bundesliga more attractive. More games like Wolfsburg, Heidenheim, or Holstein Kiel versus Augsburg is not going to make the Bundesliga more attractive, right? The Bundesliga...
Holstein Kiel versus Hamburg would still be good. Started off the Zweite Liga with that, and they kicked the living crap out of
let them rock the second league. Zweite Liga, totally fine with me, but okay, you kind of sold me on the 20 league, right? I'm trying to play devil's advocate here, and we have to watch out for one thing, right? And we're witnessing, especially with the German national team, that people are kind of not interested in this product as much as they used to be, right? And by
Gemeinschaft, horrible idea.
And overselling a product, never works. You got to keep it exclusive. You keep it where it is. And even now with all the games every day, with Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, it's too overwhelming, and I'm not saying that the product doesn't sell as well, but I would just say we have to watch out. We can't overdo it, because otherwise we're gonna, I don't know. What makes the soccer great? It's the atmosphere, is exactly what you said. It's packed stadiums, it's these choreographies, and it's not the business lounge. It's not the TV money. That doesn't make it great. Great makes the people make it great. And, and that's where the sport has to cater to the people in the stadium first, and then the rest out. And, if they lose that touch to the fan, to the guy who goes to the stadium, everything is lost, right? Because a rich dude does not pay a lot of money for a stadium for a lounge where nobody else sits. It doesn't work. You need the fan base. You need the ultras, so to say, like the crazy guys that do everything for their club, and then you have you get all the other parts in there as well. And I know this is again a big spin from 20 Club, but that's what we have to watch out for, right? So I'm totally in it. I'm like I said, I would love to have four more games a year, right? Like 2 away and 2 home games to 2 other opponents. And yes, I would love more teams like Kaiserslautern, like 1860, like even Union Berlin, like Pauli, like Hamburg, of course, and Cologne. They belong to the Bundesliga. I want to play against all of those. But I don't want more Heidenheim, more Augsburg, more Ingolstadt, more of these Mainz. We can get rid of those. I don't mind. That would be my 2 cents on the dollar.
There you go. All right, that got us going pretty. If you guys have your own opinions, reach out to us on Facebook, on Twitter. Let's keep the conversation going, because I think this is a really fascinating kind of subject matter, because let's be honest, at the end of the day, we're all football fans, and coming from someone who is in the United States of America, who has made one away trip to follow his local side, it is a long distance, and it's the atmosphere that is brought on every given match day for a home game. And then you have anywhere between 2,000 and 3,000 fans traveling. The Hamburg fans bring it to the Eintracht, and then they get spanked right by one of their own former players, and Alex Maya, and this stadium is rocking from the word go, because the Haasval fans think that they can dream big, or at least big enough that they can survive, and then they get squished like a little cockroach.
I mean, even like Düsseldorf, right? I mean, the Düsseldorf supporters, they were amazing. I mean, they were 7-0, 7-1, and they kept going. Like every picture, like whenever you saw them in the background, you're like, they were partying, they were having a good time, and they basically got their ass whooped. I mean, like, if you're a soccer team,
they got
spanked. That's not spanking. Spanking can be nice. There was more of a a hardcore whipping, and like there was a tough, like a toughie, like, and they were still partying, they were still celebrating, and that's what we want. If we would have whooped like Leipzig, the whole thing would have been, like, the 50 people would have already left the stadium, so that's what we want. We want more of these teams. Love you, Funkel.
Yeah. Wow, that went a little bit further than what was anticipated. Needless to say. Whew,
you got some whipping in there. Well, but sex sells, so we got to throw that in from time to time. Speaking of selling, you guys, listeners, you have to help us grow a little bit, so share what you can. We need reviews. However you listen to it, on SoundCloud or on iTunes, we need reviews. Give us many stars. Communicate with us. Let us know what you think, what you like, what you don't like. And that's what we need, guys. We need your support out there. You listener, we love you, and we do this all for you. And reviews. So take your app right now. Go to the episode page on iTunes. If you're an iPhone user, give us 5 stars, or it would be nice if you give us 5. If you give us less, that's okay too. And of course, SoundCloud, we need reviews, we need stars. So please, guys, thank you. We're not asking for money. We're just asking for support.
Yep. Indeed, we do this all because we are fans of the Eintracht. We're all fans of the Eintracht, and anyone who gets themselves involved, if you know someone who's a fan of the Bundesliga, bring them in if they have chosen wrongly, such as a Wolfsburg or no, Freiburg. If you have chosen Freiburg, that's perfectly okay. Or if they've chosen Leverkusen, that's also not okay. Or if they've chosen Leipzig, that also is not okay. Those are the 3 no-nos.
Now you forgot the Offenbacher Kickers, but who chooses those?
Convince them of the passion that you have for the Eintracht, and we'll go ahead accordingly. So, gentlemen, it is time to make our predictions. You can also join Eintracht Frankfurt in our little predictor league. Go to the Bundesliga.com's website, and HefPod is the group that you can join for our prediction game. That being said, gentlemen, what do we have for Eintracht's result for the weekend? Roman.
So I expect a big outcome here. I think it's going to be again. I think our attacking side is unstoppable right now, and they'll keep on scoring like a motherfucker, and it will be at least a 5-1.
5-1. There you go, Nathan. What you got?
I'm going to be a little more reserved than that, but I also foresee a victory. I'll say 3-0. Ronaldo will get another clean sheet.
Nice.
I don't have as much faith in him as you guys do. It's only going to be 2-1 for the Eintracht. I think that Eintracht will pull it out. It will be Nürnberg who take the lead and Eintracht who punch 2 in the second half. I think then they're going to be deflated and unable to come back. So, hey, like also mini zeppelins that we're used to flying nearby the stadium, puncture that balloon. All it takes is a pinprick and voila, done. Thin balloon, not one of those heavy duty ones that are able to withstand a lot of pressure. This is Nürnberg that we're talking about, a recently promoted side. So, that all being said, ways you can get in contact with us. You can get in contact with the crew, and that is at HefPod on Twitter. Facebook.com/HefPod is our Facebook page. Hey Eintracht Frankfurt at yahoo.com is our email address. Roman, what is your Twitter handle?
SF Bay Eagles on Twitter, and I think it's also SF Bay Eagles on Facebook.
There you go. And, of course, Nathan, what do you got?
You can find me on Twitter at NAJAKWA.
And you can follow me, Brian Sanders, at KCSGE. You can also occasionally get some of my tweets about some of the stuff that I've written about the Bundesliga recap that usually comes out once per match day from Prost America. Also going to be having some more Major League Soccer coverage as the playoffs loom. Nathan, if the Sporting KC does make the finals, you definitely need to come out to enjoy that. One more time. Just say it will be indeed a great time. So you have now got the competition to go for. So like our Facebook page, the Facebook post about our competition for the shirt and scarf, and then share it out. We'll then read out live who is the lucky one to get a shirt and scarf combo. So you'll look smart for the Eintracht's trip to Florida for the 2019 Florida Cup. From us all here at Hey Eintracht Frankfurt, it's cheers.
Ciao.
Tschüss.
Hey, Eintracht Frankfurt, la 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 la.